Want to confuse an American in Germany? Have them fill up your gas tank at a German gas station and watch them try and figure out how to do it.
Well, it's the same confusion for a German filling up a tank in the US as well because of the differences. Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie.
And I'm Aubrey.
And we are two Americans currently living in Germany and sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. With soaring gas prices in the news a lot recently, we thought what more of an appropriate video to do than highlight the differences at the pump between American and German gas stations to distract us all from crying at the Tankstelle. Of course, we all know that the US uses dollars per gallon and Germany uses euros per liter, but there are some very surprising differences that left us scratching our heads trying to figure out how to even physically pump our gas in Germany based on our experiences from the US. From how much we pay, to how we pay, to even what gas pumps look like or how they even work. Filling up in the US and filling up in Germany are totally different. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today in our video. Hey there, fella, let me tell you about our Tankstelle differences.
We're going to walk you through the gas buying process for both countries, and along the way, we will point out the differences. But if you're from a different country than these two, definitely let us know what these things are like where you live.
So before we ever buy gas, we first will look at the signs outside of the gas stations to see how much it costs. As we mentioned, with the different currencies and volumes used, German gas stations can give a slightly false impression when you are used to using prices per gallon and you look up at the gas prices in Germany and just see like €1.60. But you must remember that a liter is much smaller of a unit than a gallon. To be exact, 1 gallon is equal to 3.78541 liters.
Talking about gas prices can also get a little bit tricky when we are talking about the US and Germany because of how varied the prices can be across both countries. In fact, at the time of filming this video, of the 50 US states, Californians are paying 65% more than what we would be paying in our home state of Oklahoma, where gas is the least expensive in all the US. Prices for gas across Germany don't vary nearly as much as in the US. Prices vary by state in just about 0 to 3 cents range of each other. But if we compare prices of gas in the US with German gas prices, if we switch the units for German gas to USD and to gallons, we can see that it doesn't matter if you compare German gas prices with the most inexpensive or most expensive gas prices in the US, Germans are paying insanely more at the pump than Americans.
There are a lot of contributing factors to the price differences of gasoline between Germany and the US, but tax differences are a major reason why gas prices are so much more expensive in Germany. Taxes on gas in the US are fairly straightforward in most states, and in Oklahoma, you pay 20 cents per gallon in Oklahoma motor fuel taxes and 18.4 cents per gallon in federal motor fuel taxes. So for gas that is $3.02 a gallon in Oklahoma, about 12.7% of that is taxes. In Germany, it is a little more complicated as you have an already hefty 19% value added tax, but also an energy tax, CO2 pricing, petroleum, stockpiling levy, and ARL makes it simple by having a tax calculator already on their website where you can see that at the time of filming, this is how much Germans pay in just taxes for their gas.
When it comes to prices, another thing that kind of surprised us moving to Germany was the fact that diesel actually costs less than regular gasoline, because in the US, diesel tends to always be more expensive than regular gasoline. But the US is in the minority of countries in which this is the case. GlobalPetrolPrices.com says, according to our data set of 161 countries, gasoline is more expensive than diesel fuel in 84% of all countries. Most countries tax diesel and gasoline differently. For example, in the USA, the federal excise tax on gasoline is 18.4 cents per gallon and 24.4 cents per gallon for diesel fuel. In contrast, most European countries tax diesel more lightly than gasoline. They do explain other factors that cause the discrepancy, but this is just one of the major reasons why it is the case. So I want to know from you guys, let's compare how much we are currently paying at the pump depending on where we are located. Let us know how much gas is where you live right now in the comments below.
Okay, Okay, so now we know the price of what we are about to buy, and as you pull up to the pump and step out of your car, we are immediately hit with another difference. In Germany, the very first step will be selecting which gas you're going to pump and to start pumping. But one of the first things that is common to see at gas stations in the US are stickers on the gas pump that say something like, due to an increased rate of fuel-related thefts, please enter your payment first and then fill up. This means that in the US, before you even touch a nozzle, you must pay first.
Now, when we say you must pay first, that does not mean that you're really always actually paying right then. This often confuses foreigners who ask, how do I know how much to pay before I've filled up? Well, you generally have a good idea of how much it'll cost to get what you need, and therefore you can pay up front in cash and get you close to topping off your tank. But according to Gas Buddy, in 2019, only 4% of Americans preferred to pay for gas with cash. 88% of Americans preferred to pay for gas with either a credit card or debit cards. When you pay with card, you insert your card into the machine at the pump, and it doesn't charge you right away, but rather holds onto your card information in an encrypted way for security. And then once you're done pumping your gas, you are charged for the amount of gas that you pumped, allowing you to fill up completely without figuring out how much you need in advance.
Real quick, if you are enjoying this video, and since it isn't sponsored by anyone, it would be a huge support to our channel if you would take a second to hit that like and subscribe buttons. Also, leave us a comment to let us know what country you are watching from.
So, in the US, we have now paid for our gas. And in Germany, we have only stepped out of our vehicle. Now it is time to choose what gas we are going to pump. One of the first most important things to learn is the differences between the green and black pumps in the US and in Germany. The reason this is so important to learn is because in Germany, the green gas pumps are for regular gasoline and black is for diesel, whereas in the US, it is the exact opposite, generally speaking. We have actually known Americans living in Germany who naturally reached for the black pump in Germany because it is what they have always done and then didn't realize until it was too late that they actually pumped their non-diesel vehicle with diesel. Again, this is generally speaking because this isn't color coding required by law in the US, and there can be some variations. Many gas stations will also offer regular unleaded, mid-grade unleaded, or premium unleaded fuel, and they may use different colors to indicate those, for example.
If you want to be extra cautious and not just rely on the pump color, you can also look at the labels on the pumps to make sure you know what you are pumping, of course. But that brings us to our next difference: the labels. In 2018, the EU Parliamentary Council decided to bring in the rebrand as part of the EU's bid to standardize the labeling system. By rebrand, they mean that all EU states and some non-EU members in Europe have switched to a standardized labeling system in which a circle with the label E5, E10, or E85 is regular gasoline, a square with the label B7, B10, or XTL is diesel, and a diamond with the label H2, CNG, LPG, or LNG is hydrogen fuel. American fuel pumps will typically be labeled with just the words diesel, regular, plus, or premium gas. However, different variations may exist for marketing purposes or with biofuels.
If it is still not clear to you which pump you should use, you can look at the octane levels of the fuel on the labels. But once again, those are different between Germany and the US. Kind of. When we first started filling up in Germany, we were scratching our heads trying to figure out what fuel to use because we were looking at the octane numbers to figure out which ones looked familiar to us, yet none of the numbers looked like what we are used to in the US. In the US, we were used to labels with octane levels generally being 87 for regular, 89 to 90 for mid-grade, and between 91 to 94 for premium gas. In Germany, we generally see 91 for normal, 95 for super, and then 98 for super plus. These numbers in the US and Germany are going to vary, but they generally are always higher values in Germany than what we're used to seeing in the US, making us think we have the wrong stuff.
If you look closely at an American gas pump octane label, you'll see it written R+M-2 method. There are different ways of measuring the octane levels, the RON and the MON. We are not going to deep dive into the science of this difference or what these even are, but all you need to know is that the US takes the average of these two methods to determine their octane ratings, and Europe simply just uses the RON number. This causes the different numbers you see, but at the end of the day, the US 87 is the same as the German 91, the US 89 to 90 range is the same as, say, a German 95, and for the US 91 to 94 range, it's the same as a German 98.
Okay, We have finally figured out which gas to pump into our car, and it is time to start pumping. The actual pumping process is similar, and the pump itself is pretty much the same, but with just one small difference. Of course, this is gonna vary from gas station to gas station, even within the same country, but the pump locks have been different for the most part across the board. For American gas pumps, you typically will lift the handle to start pumping, and then under the handle and at the front is a lever that you flick down, and that holds the handle up. Of course, once the gas level is high enough, it will then release and the handle will pop down. For German gas pumps, you lift the handle and then there is a T-shaped lever on the top and at the back of the handle that once you lift the handle, you push backwards and it locks the handle. Just like the US mechanism, when the gas tank is full, it unlocks and stops fueling.
Both of these locks also can be released the same way by squeezing the handle up and they will release. Overall, they work nearly identically, but with just slight different techniques to engage them. There doesn't have to be a right or a wrong, as we always mention in our videos, but maybe we're just biased because at least I still personally prefer the American lock. It just seems to be a little bit easier for us to use. However, we have heard in some countries that the pumps legally can't lock and you must hold on to it the entire time. So I wanna know, have you ever experienced this or have you seen other locking techniques on gas pumps?
Now that we have fueled our car up with the proper gasoline for our vehicle, it is of course now time to pay for the gas in both the US and in Germany. Again, technically that hasn't happened yet on the US gas pumps if you have paid by card. Once you have finished pumping and the pump is back on the machine and you have the final amount for the gas, then your card will be charged and you will have officially paid for the amount of gas that you have pumped. However, if you paid in cash and overestimated, you can go back inside and get your change, or if you need more gas, you can go and give more cash.
Where in the US, you can pump your gas and never interact with a human or walk away from your car, in Germany, you nearly always have to do both of those things. In Germany, you have to walk inside and pay with the clerk behind the counter, no matter what payment type you're using. There are a few places that have stations that are not manned and you may have card machines at the pump where you self-service pay, but after traveling all over Germany, this definitely is in the far minority and a rare thing for us to personally find. For us, it of course hasn't felt like a major inconvenience. However, it does get annoying when you're at a super busy gas station and everybody has to wait on the cars blocking the pumps while their drivers are walking all the way inside, waiting in a single line to pay, and then walking all the way back out to finally move their car so the next person can fill up. If you know of any other differences that we didn't mention in this video, be sure to leave those in the comments below. To see who made it this far in the video though, the random question of the week is ketchup or mustard on your hot dog or bratwurst? What do you use? Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Please make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you in our next video.
Tschüss and gute Fahrt.
3.784541 liters.
I think you missed this.
You messed up those numbers?
I think you did.
3.78451 liters.
You did it again. 541.
What did I say?
451.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
3.78541.
You got it, yeah.